Welcome back. Now, joining me again is Jessica Wakefield, who is going to talk through the stories that we didn't mention in the last section. Welcome back, Jessica.
Hi.
So let's talk about Poo Sticks Champions. You were there on Sunday. On Sunday. It had changed the first time its location in 30-odd years.
32 years,
32 years, and it was a huge day.
Yeah, it was a great day. I think there were a lot of visitors because it was in Cogs Farm, in a very kind of communal area where people visit. It was a beautiful day. There were lots of people walking through and stopping and getting involved. So I think there were about 800 plus visitors and people, like participants, getting involved. It was quite exciting because the current Guinness World Record Winnie the Pooh memorabilia holder, Deb Hoffman, flew over from Wisconsin in America, which was quite exciting. So she was a bit of a local celebrity. Winnie the Pooh himself made a bit of an appearance with his friends, which was great, which a lot of kids got very excited about. But yeah, it was a great day. It's the 32nd year now. It's the first year in this new location because of such popularity and such public demand that they had to change because Little Whittingham, which is where it's been held before, couldn't accommodate to all the participants.
It sounds like a really lovely, like, family fun-filled day out. So the point of it is that you're meant to throw a stick over a bridge and then you wait until it hits a finish line?
Well, essentially, yes. It's really not that complex. It's A.A. Milne's character, Winnie the Pooh, threw some, actually they were fir cones. I was corrected on the day. Originally fir cones, but it didn't have quite a ring as Pooh sticks, into the water and just tried to do see a competition, see who was going to win and get to the line first, and now this is the World Championship, so It's got quite a following.
Well, yeah, it must do. I mean, 800 people is so great. Are they planning on staying in Whitney, do you know, for another year?
I think so. So this year, I mean, it has always been organised by for the past 14 years, the Oxfordshire Rotary Club, which obviously is a national enterprise. And I spoke to the event organiser and a member of the Oxfordshire Rotary Club, Richie Gray, and he says that this was a great location and they have no reason to think that they would move.
Oh, it was fantastic. It's so nice to have something in Whitney as well, to have a lot of events. I mean, recently we've had quite a lot of good festivals, and we've got more coming up. We've got the Lib Fest, which is actually happening in a few weekends as well, which is in memory of Liberty, who unfortunately was killed in a car crash recently. Yeah. And a lot of good things are happening here. I think it's a really community-focused area. But then again, so is all of Oxfordshire, so we can't focus on one place. So why don't we talk about another great story you've got here?
So another story that kind of caught my eye, it's another kind of happy story, is there is a mother, Lee Mackey, who unfortunately lost her son in Afghanistan. He was in service there in 2009. And she's a divorced lady from Brompton in West Oxfordshire. And she was listening to the radio, local radio one day, and it was talking about fostering. And she thought, well, I really want to give back to the community, and I really want to kind of help out children who need me. And so now she offers, she acts as a foster parent, just as a temporary one until the kids are rehomed, and looks after kind of babies and toddlers until they're ready to find a home, hopefully, for life. And it's a really lovely story because she's a divorced lady and she's obviously had a very horrible time losing her son, and so
it's nice that she's giving back, isn't it? I mean, Obviously this week is Carers Week, and Foster's Week is coming up. But on both of those people who actually give so much time and so much energy into caring for people who aren't part of their family, I mean, it's genuinely humbling.
It is, and I think also the vulnerable in our community make up a big percentage of our local population, but in addition, their carers do as well, and I think it's really special that they're being acknowledged in this week and on a national level, because it is a national campaign. But I think one of the more interesting things about it is that there are a lot of carers who don't even realise they're in this role. So parents, guardians, spouses, they don't realise that they're actually technically carers because they're not being paid and they're doing it out of love. But it's still just as, emotionally draining and taxing on them. So this week is about raising awareness and, reaching out to people and saying, well, we're here to help, we're here to support you, we appreciate what you're doing. And I think that's really great thing for our community.
Oh, definitely. I just put it out there that I think everybody needs a night off, no matter even if, I mean, not talking about people, but even if you have a pet, sometimes you're just like, do you know what, enough's enough, you need to have a bit of a break. Yeah. So actually having that support network from the carers groups in and around Oxfordshire is so important. Yeah. And obviously in a few weeks when we go on to Fostering Week, we'll also hear from them about how they're dealing with it and the support that is actually out there. But in the meantime, we'll move on again. So you've got here like plus size model in Miss England.
Yeah, so this is a story which the reason I found it interesting, because ostensibly it's about Sharon O'Neill from Headington, who just won the nation's popularity queen title, and she's going through to compete to become Miss England along with Miss Oxfordshire. So she's from Headington, she's from Oxford. But what I found really interesting was, one, why should this be a headline that she's plus size? Why is beauty not being celebrated in all different shapes and forms? And second of all, actually, in the content of the article, what she says, so in her interview, she talks about how she struggled with dyspraxia and education. She says, my experience of education from a very early age was linked to failure, frustration, and an unspoken belief that everyone else was better than me. And her thing is about feeling that she's being appreciated and kind of supported when she had a lot of educational learning difficulties at school. But I found it quite interesting that the headline was focusing on her weight as opposed to what she actually wanted to talk about. So I
think generally with all of these kind of Miss World style contests, you are, even though you're coming across and you're saying, well, actually, I've had this background and I'm trying to do better and everything, the fact is you're still actually going into a competition that's about your looks. Yeah. It's plain and simple, and I think you really need to consider about what you want to try and get across, and maybe not just as a person but as a society we shouldn't be doing things like Miss Popularity and Miss England and Miss Oxfordshire. We should be thinking about who's got like better grades or most intelligent, or I don't know, not something so stereotypical, because there's always going to be an argument for, well, that's great that they weren't focusing on that, but then she did go into competition where it's focusing on her face.
Yeah, of course.
And also Miss Oxfordshire is actually from Newbury, which was a shock to all of us here. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure how that one cut across the...
Slipped through the net there.
Yeah, the county lines. So there's some beautiful girls in Oxfordshire as well. But it is a really interesting point, and I do think the plus size argument is taken a lot of... it's taken a lot of fast pace at the moment, because people are complaining that you're calling it plus size when actually obesity is a huge issue. And you call someone too skinny and everyone goes crazy, but you call someone, you can't call someone too fat. No one ever calls anyone like too fat or obese. They're just beautiful and rounded and curved.
Yeah, hourglass. I think there is a problem in the media where with political correctness in that sense. So these kind of terms, like you say, curvy and voluptuous, are basically used to apply to people who are often unhealthily overweight. And I think people are trying to be so politically correct and so inoffensive and not cause any offence or harm that actually it's kind of distorting what's healthy in society. And of course we have had a problem recently with the size zero trend and problem, especially in the fashion world, where people are kind of going the other end of the spectrum now. So it's quite hard. We need to find a balance where we're not kind of glorifying obesity or extreme skinniness, but we're also not offending
extreme. That's the issue there. Like any extreme is just too much. We need, as you rightly say, we need to find a happy medium where people are, confident and comfortable in their own skin, and that's probably not going to change from not just the media's aspect, but until everybody starts looking at it properly and thinking, actually, we're all beautiful in our own beautiful way. But moving on from that, because that's turning into a bit of a smart. So what else have you found in the papers today?
Well, there's a museum plea to save a Turner painting of Oxford High Street. So it's an oil painting from 1810 that was commissioned by a local Oxford art dealer. And it's been in the Ashmolean since 1997. And basically, they're trying to raise funds to keep it there, because it's if there's not, I think, £20,000 more that needs to be raised. They've already raised, I think, around £300,000 for it, which is a lot of money.
That's an expensive painting.
It is, but otherwise it's going to go on auction, and the people of Oxford, especially the people of the Ashmolean, which is a huge gallery and museum, are kind of an outrage. I guess there's a lot of sentimental value. I mean, it was commissioned by an Oxford art dealer. It's depicting one of the most iconic streets in Oxford, the High Street. And I think, it's been a part of the Ashmolean, it's been a part of our kind of landscape, in a sense, our kind of artistic landscape since 1997. That's good. Not very good at maths. 20
for a
years.
while. Yeah.
That people have a sentimental attachment to it. So.
But whether or not a museum should be paying that amount, because it seems that like a lot of pieces that go to museum are donated. So why can't it be donated in the sense of, does whoever owns it, do they really need like that much money for a painting?
I think there's been a dispute with taxes. So that's why, and basically the tariff keeps rising. So they keep needing to get more money to keep it there. But I'm sure there's going to have to be a cut-off point where it's going to be a very expensive painting otherwise.
Well, yeah, I think there's only going to be so much that people want to bid for. But as you're right to say, it's a beautiful city landscape, so why wouldn't they really? But anything else that you found for us?
Well, on Twitter, so tomorrow it's the start of Low Carbon Oxford Week. Oxford City Council have been tweeting about that. It's basically an initiative, a campaign for the week to get the people of Oxford reducing their carbon footprint, which is obviously a big problem in our generation. So they're encouraging, public transport, or even better, getting on your bikes, which obviously Oxford's very good for, walking around and just generally trying to reduce the levels of carbon consumption in our city.
Well, let's hope people take that on board and actually go and help out. Well, thanks for joining us and telling us what the papers say.
Thank you.